When you're slogging away in the trenches, in doing invasive plant management, and it's 30 degrees outside and the mosquitoes are fighting, it does sometimes feel like you're not winning, but then when you take a step back and you look at the bigger picture, you definitely can see the progress that's being made.
The progress is controlling invasive plants and reintroducing water here for cattle and other wildlife, including endangered species.
One of the benefits that this has made for some of the species at risk were directly for spadefoot toads, which we knew were in the area, but we didn't know were actually at this particular location. And once we had put water into the pond, it was almost that first season that you could hear spadefoots calling. So they were able to seek out the water and use it as a breeding pond. Lots of birds, red-winged blackbirds, are thriving at this site. When you put water back into a site, they recover quite quickly, and this is really evident of that.
For over 40 years, the Nature Trust of British Columbia has been acquiring strategic lands based on their biodiversity. This is the Okanagan Falls Biodiversity Ranch, 2,000 acres of private land and another 60,000 acres of Crown grazing license.
Conservation is more of an active management role. So we are actively managing the lands. We're controlling invasives. On our ranches, we're rotating cattle to sort of mimic management processes that we might have cut out, like fire, so we can graze off an area if we want to help reduce fire risk or what have you. And then we can also not graze areas if we have particular species that are sensitive.
Workers regularly check monitoring stations throughout the land parcel, identifying plant species and measuring their growth. Then, only a few hundred meters up in elevation, the landscape changes dramatically.
Because of the ecosystem that exists here, we've got antelope brush, we've got ponderosa pine, we've got blue bunch wheatgrass. These areas are significant in the Okanagan and in British Columbia. The antelope brush ecosystem only exists in British Columbia, pretty much Penticton South on the east side of the valley. Slated as one of the top 4 most endangered ecosystems in Canada. One of the target areas that the Nature Trust is focusing on in the Okanagan. It's important because I've seen the change in the Okanagan Valley over the years. I was born and raised in Penticton. The population has definitely increased. Pressure on these low elevation areas, the valley bottoms, which are great places to live and vacation and grow grapes and other agricultural things, but they're also the places where we find a lot of the species and the diversity of species and the rare species as well. So the pressure that's being put on them by people is large, so we need to have areas that we still have in a natural state and are protected.
Earth, Wind, Fire is an annual event in the Okanagan where you can help this conservation effort.
Through Earth, Wind, Fire, we do have a few events that they're more auction items that where you can experience, a day on the ranch, or we've got a helicopter tour and hike and things like that, where you can actually get out on the landscape and experience some of those things as well. Yeah, depending on which way you look, you wouldn't really know you are 5 minutes from Okanagan Falls. It's absolutely a gem within the South Okanagan, for sure.